signed her first contract after 12 rejections. No one knew she was the CEO of a startup transforming the legal industry, New York. A windy autumn afternoon. The glass door slid open gently. A tall, brown-skinned woman walked into her 13th office in 3 months. She wore a crisp, white rolled-up shirt and beige slacks, and held a single folder in her hand. No pitch deck, no flashy portfolio, just a few blurry scans of legal cases resolved with AI. "Sorry, you are. I'm the CEO of Amara Legal. I have a 3 p.m. with Attorney Ross." The receptionist looked her up and down. No heels, no designer blazer, no visible signs that she was the head of a startup. Please have a seat. Mr. Ross is in a meeting." Amara nodded and sat on a thin cushion chair, her eyes scanning the framed photos on the wall, all trophies of multi-million-dollar wins. But what she brought wasn't another big lawsuit. It was a piece of software helping regular people defend themselves in a system designed to ignore them. 5 minutes later, the door opened. A man with salt and pepper hair and gold-rimmed glasses stepped out. "Sorry, I've only got 15 minutes. Amara stood and extended her hand. "That's enough. I won't take a second more than I deserve." He looked at her, surprised. Deserve? No one had spoken to him like that. But she didn't apologize. Because if he wanted a timid CEO, he didn't need Amara. Everything started in a trash-strewn neighborhood in the South Bronx. She grew up surrounded by food stamps, eviction notices, and case files her mother, a social worker, used to read every night. She once asked her mother, "Why read all that stuff? You're not a lawyer." Her mom replied, "You don't have to be a lawyer to know when the law kills. Or when it saves." That sentence followed Amara her whole life. She studied law, graduated atop of her class. I interned at a prestigious firm, realizing they didn't care about justice. They just wanted to win. So she walked away. She used her savings to build a platform with 2 engineers. An AI system to help everyday people handle civil disputes without hiring a lawyer. From renters suing landlords for withheld deposits to workers challenging abusive contracts. But every time she pitched to investors, the responses were the same. Nice humanitarian idea, but hard to scale. Poor people won't pay for subscriptions. Do you have a male co-founder? One investor even told her, "If you pivot this to serve small businesses instead, I'd consider it." She smiled faintly. "We didn't build this to help the powerful cut litigation costs. We built it so the unheard don't lose their voice." Back at Ross and Chapman, Amara slid the folder onto the table. "This is a tenant claim from Brooklyn. My client didn't know how to write a demand letter. I didn't write it for her. I just gave her the right questions. The AI did the rest." She opened her laptop. The screen showed a clean, legally formatted letter. "I, Sarah Jenkins, am requesting compensation of $2,300 for the unlawful withholding of my rental deposit." Attorney Ross stared. It was flawless. Format and language are all state-compliant, written by someone without legal training, and aided by AI. "I don't need lawyers to change," she said. "I just need you to listen. The system is leaving people behind." If you've ever been overlooked in a reception lobby, if you've ever had to say, "I just need 15 minutes," because that's all you were given, try commenting on your story, because someone out there needs to see they're not alone. The lawyer looked at her intently. How many of these cases end in favor of the filer? 68%. Double the win rate of people without legal representation. And they're all just everyday folks? Single moms, immigrants, students denied tuition refunds without cause, everyone. He nodded slowly. "You don't have to call me sir anymore. We're in the same profession." Amara smiled. A few days later, an unexpected LinkedIn post began to go viral. AI legal aid just helped me recover $1,800 from a landlord who threatened to countersue me for 4 months. No one believed tech could replicate justice until they tried. The author? A software engineer who had once dismissed Amara as a CEO who doesn't understand growth. Amara read it and simply tapped the heart icon. No comment, no share, because she knew the people who needed that post weren't scrolling LinkedIn. Instead, she and her team quietly expanded the product. A tool that flags exploitative clauses in lease agreements. A contract scanner that highlights hidden risks in terms of service most users skip. And most powerfully, a chatbot that responds to illegal eviction threats with citations from state-specific housing law. Amara visited a local community college the following month to test the new system. She didn't go as the CEO. She wore a gray hoodie, her hair in a bun, and round glasses. She sat in the back row next to a few students chatting. If this AI really works, I'm never hiring a lawyer for next year's lease. Please, the site looks like someone's unfinished code project. Amara chuckled. She didn't interrupt. Later, a brown-skinned girl with natural curls stood up and said, "This tool isn't perfect, but my sister won an $800 case with it. So at the very least, it hears the voices no one else does." A small round of applause. Amara quietly got up and slipped out of the room, but for the first time, her eyes welled up. 2 weeks later, I received an email from a hospital. They wanted to use AI legal aid to process internal discrimination complaints. Human systems carry bias. Maybe AI can be more neutral. Amara stayed up past midnight, not writing a reply but simply staring at the screen. She had once been the child denied medical care because her mother couldn't sign an insurance form in time. Now, her software might help a nurse like her mom be heard. She opened her phone and typed into her private notes. Justice doesn't need a courthouse. Just someone to say, "I believe you." One gray Wednesday morning, Amara received a call from a large law firm, the same one that had rejected her fresh out of school. "We'd like to meet to discuss integrating your platform." She stayed silent. The voice on the other end asked, "Hello? Are you still there?" "Yes, I'm just considering whether we should actually help you or just give you the chance to relearn what justice means." There was a pause, then laughter, not mocking but respectful. "You choose your words like a knife. That's all people without power have, our words. If you've ever stood in a room full of people who didn't believe in you, if you've ever been told to talk less, smile more, or if you've ever thought, 'What difference can I make on my own?' Drop a comment. Your story might open the door for someone else." Another afternoon, she met with Attorney Ross again. "Amara," he said, "I've got news. A federal court just ruled a case filed using AI legal aid as legally valid. That's history." She didn't beam with pride. She simply asked, "Will that history have the user's name on it? Or mine?" He hesitated. "It belongs to the system, to the community, to all of us." Amara nodded. "Then it's worth it." A few months later, Amara was invited to speak at a policy summit in Washington, D.C., not as a CEO, but as the voice of an alternative justice system. She stepped onto the stage. The spotlight wasn't as blinding as Silicon Valley's, but it was warm. "Someone once asked me," she began, "why build something for people who can't pay?" She looked directly into the camera, because if only the rich are allowed to be heard, then all other justice is just privilege. A wave of applause rolled across the room. She didn't raise her hands. She didn't ask for cheers. She simply lowered the mic. If you want to keep following stories like Amara's, not glamorous but profoundly true, subscribe to the channel. There are more voices out there, and you'll be the first to hear them. 3 weeks later, a seemingly routine media interview turns into a storm. A significant financial network invited Amara for a talk show under the headline, "First Black Female CEO Building AI for the Poor. Is Justice by Technology Real?" She arrived at the studio on time, quietly, as always. The stylist asked, "Do you want full makeup?" "It's HD broadcast." Amara simply replied, "Justice doesn't wear foundation. Let's keep it real." When the cameras went live, the host began, "Ladies and gentlemen, today we welcome someone doing what some experts call unrealistic." Amara tilted her head slightly. She didn't interrupt. "Let me ask you, Amara, honestly, do you really think your system is good enough if it doesn't have a clear profit model?" She smiled. Not cold, not soft, just steady. "Do you think justice should be profitable?" The air tightened. "What I mean is, every successful startup needs. I didn't build a startup to be called successful. I built it so kids like me, kids who had to use Google Translate to file a complaint, could submit it in time." The host turned to another guest, a venture capitalist. "To be honest, if Amara pitched for Series A, I'm not sure she'd get picked. Unless I rewrite my story into something that makes you feel safer," Amara cut in. "I get it. You like the rags to riches arc, as long as it ends in a billion-dollar exit, not in 10,000 small victories through free legal software." This time, the audience clapped. The show ended. A clip of her reply went viral with the headline, "CEO Silences Financial Host with One Ethics Question." A month later, a buyout offer from a tech giant. The email was short. Sent directly from the VP of AI Ethics, "We're ready to acquire AI legal aid at a $97 million valuation to integrate into our legal services platform. You'd stay on as product director. In return, better maintenance, faster scaling, more people helped." Amara sat still. She thought of her mother, who once cried when denied a basic checkup because she didn't have valid insurance. She thought of the curly-haired girl at the community college, who said, "It's not perfect, but at least it listens." And the 1,248 user feedback entries she received last month, many written in Spanish, Arabic, Vietnamese, Yoruba. She typed her reply. The first line read, "I didn't build this to be acquired. I built it to be unbuyable." 3 days later, a leaked email goes viral on Twitter. The online chatter exploded. Amara Pierce turns down $97 million for idealism. Delusional or revolutionary? She didn't comment. But quietly, AI Legal Aid released a significant update. Community law organizations could now access the API for free, integrating the tool into their chatbots. An immigrant aid group on the border implemented it within 24 hours, over 700 users in the first 2 days. If you think this is the part where Amara wins, then you don't yet understand people like her. She didn't wait for a victory parade. She quietly reviewed every line of code, every message from the most vulnerable users, because to her, each word wasn't user data, it was proof. I'm still here, I haven't been erased. One night, an anonymous email arrived. No name, no signature, just this. "I tried using my old landlord thrice and was denied each time. But AI Legal Aid helped me spot a clause they added illegally. I won. And for the first time in my life, I thought maybe the law could belong to me too." Amara reread it. And again. No one knew that this email, not from a journalist, not from a politician, was what made her leap out of bed at midnight and rework entirely the legal database for state-specific housing contracts. You've probably wondered, can one person change anything? Amara didn't change the world. She did one thing, built a tool that even the least powerful could use to hold on to the last shred of dignity. If you ever lost your voice, your rights, or even your patience, share this story or leave a comment. Not just for me, but for someone like you who still needs to hear you're not alone. 6 weeks later, an unexpected invitation to Washington, D.C. An email arrived from the Office of Federal Innovation and Technology. Subject: Ethical AI in Legal Systems. Special invitation to Amara J. Lattimore. Amara read the invitation 3 times, not because she hesitated, but because she found it almost funny. She sent 4 funding requests to this same office in 2019 when AI legal aid was a fragile idea. Not a single reply. But now, after the platform had gone viral after the press finally started naming her, they invited her to a roundtable. Classic, we didn't hear you when you needed us, but now that everyone else does, we can't ignore you. She nodded. She went, but not to ask for support. She had something else in mind. Washington, D.C. Inside a red velvet, leather-chaired briefing room, senior advisors waited. One of them spoke first. "We appreciate your efforts, Ms. Lattimore. We're curious, do you think your platform could be integrated into the Federal Legal Information System as a model for ethical AI and civic applications?" Amara stayed silent, then asked, "Would that mean everyday citizens have the right to submit feedback to that AI?" "I'm sorry? Let me rephrase. Can people, especially those who aren't wealthy, not lawyers, not insiders, give input on how the AI interprets legal language?" Glances were exchanged. One advisor exhaled. "That would be complicated." Amara smiled. Complicated is a word used by the powerful when they don't want to share power. The room grew still. AI is not a solution if it only helps the strong manipulate faster. Then she pulled a draft from her bag. A community ethics charter for legal AI, built from 7,000 real user responses. No algorithm has ethics, only people do, if they choose to leave it in every line of code. Later, that day, an outdoor press briefing. A young student raised a hand. "Ms. Amara, do you think of yourself as the CEO of a startup or the leader of a movement?" She didn't answer immediately. She remembered sleepless nights, investors' cold stares, how they looked at her curls, her cadence, not quite Wall Street. She thought of her mother. Even her father, the man she had never met, once sent a single letter that read, "If you're doing the right thing, don't let anyone label it as reckless." Amara lifted her head and looked into the crowd. "I don't think I'm leading a company." She paused, then added, "I think I'm reclaiming the right to be explained to, the right to understand the law, for those the legal system has long written off as a syntax error." That night, Novosphere office. She passed by the engineering team, heads down, refining a new language model, this time for the deaf and hard of hearing. Early tests showed AI legal aid could now translate sign language into interactive legal guidance. A shy intern approached. "I saw you on Twitter. I didn't think you'd ever read feedback, but I sent one, anonymous handle." Amara smiled. "I read them all." "Really?" "Yeah, every line, because I know if someone's desperate enough to type their story into a legal software form, they deserve to be heard by someone." "Are you still reading?" "Then maybe, just maybe, you've also felt the system wasn't built for you. If this story made you think of someone, or of yourself, leave a comment. Someone out there might need your words to keep going. And if you want to follow the journey of CEOs who don't look the part but who are rebuilding the rules themselves, you already know what to do.